Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about a revolution. We see it everywhere. The silent hum of engines, the futuristic designs, and the promise of a greener wallet. We are talking, of course, about electric vehicles, EVs. The marketing pitch for an EV is incredibly seductive, isn't it? It usually goes something like this. Yes, the sticker price is a bit higher than a gas car, but think of the savings. No more gas stations. No more oil changes, fewer moving parts to break. It sounds like a financial no-brainer. You pay a bit more up front to save a fortune down the road. But today, I want to take you beyond the showroom floor. I want to look at the iceberg principle of EV ownership. The sticker price and the electricity costs are just the tip of the iceberg, the part you see above the water. But beneath the surface, there is a massive, jagged mass of hidden costs that can sink your budget if you aren't navigating carefully. In this lecture, we're going to break down these hidden costs, moving from the simple setup fees to the complex economics of depreciation and insurance. Let's start shallow. Let's assume you bought the car. You drive it home. You're excited to plug it in and refuel for pennies. Here is the first hidden cost, the home station reality. Most people assume you can just plug an EV into a standard wall outlet, what we call a level 1 charger. And technically you can. But it's agonizingly slow. We're talking about gaining maybe 4 to 5 miles of range per hour. If you commute 40 miles a day, you might barely break even charging overnight. So you decide to install a level 2 fast charger. The charger unit itself might cost you around $500 to $700. That seems manageable. But here is the hidden variable, installation. If your garage is right next to your electrical panel, you might pay an electrician $500. But for many older homes, the electrical panel is on the other side of the house. Or worse, the panel itself is full. Let's look at a real-world example. Imagine a homeowner named Sarah. She buys an EV, buys the $600 charger, and calls an electrician. The electrician tells her, "Sarah, your home only has 100 amp service, and it's maxed out. To add a 50 amp circuit for this car, we need to upgrade your entire house to 200 amp service." Suddenly, that $600 project becomes a $3,000 to $5,000 electrical renovation. This is a cost that almost never appears in the total cost of ownership calculators you see online. Now, let's go a little deeper. Let's talk about physics. There is one fundamental difference between an EV and an internal combustion engine. I see. Car that affects your wallet every single day. Weight. Batteries are heavy. A typical EV weighs 20% to 30% more than a comparable gas car. A Ford F-150 Lightning, for example, weighs significantly more than a standard F-150. Why does this matter? Tires. Tires are the silent casualty of the EV revolution. The combination of that heavy battery weight and the instant torque, that fun acceleration that pins you to your seat, shreds rubber. In the gas car world, you might expect a good set of tires to last 40,000 to 50,000 miles. In the EV world, owners are frequently reporting needing new tires at 20,000 or even 15,000 miles. You are effectively buying tires twice as often. And it gets worse. You can't just put cheap tires on an EV. Because the car is heavy and quiet, it requires specialized tires with stronger sidewalls to hold the weight and noise-dampening foam so you don't hear the road roar. Let's run the math. Gas car, one set of standard tires every 4 years at $800 total. EV, 2 sets of specialized tires every 4 years at $1,200 per set. The hidden cost, that's a difference of $1,600 over 4 years, just in rubber. While you're saving money on oil changes, which might cost $100 a year, you're spending nearly double those savings on premium rubber. It's a classic case of shifting costs from one category to another rather than eliminating them. Moving deeper into the financial structure, let's look at insurance. Logic suggests EVs should be cheaper to insure. They have advanced safety features, cameras everywhere, and autopilot systems. They rarely get into low-speed fender benders because they stop themselves. However, the data tells a different story. On average, EV insurance premiums are 15% to 25% higher than gas cars. Why? It comes down to repairability and write-offs. Let me give you a scenario. You are in a minor accident in a gas car. You dent the bumper and crack the radiator. The mechanic swaps the parts, maybe weld a bracket, and you are back on the road for $2,000. Now, take that same accident in an EV. If that impact was near the battery pack, even slightly, the repair protocol changes instantly. Mechanics cannot simply guess if the battery cells are damaged. If there is even a 1% risk of a punctured cell, which could lead to a thermal runaway fire later, insurance companies will often total the entire car. We are seeing brand new EVs with low mileage being written off as total losses for what looks like minor structural damage, simply because the labor to diagnose and safely repair the battery system costs more than the car's value. Furthermore, there is a labor shortage. Not every body shop can touch a Tesla or a Rivian. They need specialized high-voltage training and tools. Low supply of mechanics plus high complexity of repair equals sky-high insurance premiums. Now we reach the deepest and perhaps most painful hidden cost, depreciation. For decades, we knew how cars depreciated. You drive a Toyota Camry off the lot. It loses some value, but it holds steady for years. EVs are behaving more like consumer electronics than cars. Think about your iPhone. An iPhone 12 is fine, but the moment the iPhone 15 comes out, the value of the 12 plummets. Why? Because the technology is the value, not the mechanical durability. Early EV adopters are learning this the hard way. We are currently seeing EVs lose value faster than combustion cars, in some segments significantly faster. A study in 2024 showed that while gas cars might lose 40% of their value in 5 years, some EVs were losing nearly 60%. There are two drivers for this volatility. Tech obsolescence. If you bought an EV 3 years ago with a 200-mile range, and today's model costs the same, but has a 350-mile range and charges twice as fast, your old car is effectively obsolete. Price wars. When a major manufacturer, like Tesla, slashes the price of a new car by $10,000 to gain market share, the value of every used car instantly drops by $10,000. It's instant asset deflation. If you plan to drive the car into the ground over 15 years, depreciation doesn't matter. But if you're the type of person who trades in their car every 3 to 5 years, this hidden cost could wipe out every single penny you saved on gasoline. Finally, let's touch on the cost of time and public charging. We often calculate electricity costs based on home rates. It only costs me 15 cents per kilowatt hour. That's true at home. But unless you never leave your city, you will use public DC fast chargers like superchargers. These are not cheap. The commercial rate for electricity at these chargers can be 3 to 4 times the residential rate. Driving a gas car, the price of gas is roughly the same on the highway as it is in the city. But in an EV, a road trip changes the economics completely. You are suddenly paying gas equivalent prices, but with the added cost of waiting 30 to 40 minutes for a charge. If your time is money, if you're a busy professional, spending 40 minutes sitting in a parking lot instead of 5 minutes at a pump is a quantifiable hidden cost. So, does this mean you shouldn't buy an electric car? Absolutely not. EVs are incredible machines. They are fun to drive, quiet, and for the right person, they can save money. But the financial victory of owning an EV is not automatic. It requires a specific set of conditions. You must be able to charge at home, cheaply. You shouldn't trade cars frequently to avoid depreciation. You need to drive enough miles to offset the higher insurance and tire costs. The lesson for today is this. When you calculate the cost of the future, make sure you aren't just looking at the fuel pump. Look at the tires, look at the insurance policy, look at your electrical panel, and look at the resale market. The hidden costs are only hidden if you don't look for them. Now, you know where to look. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.